Welcome to the History Law channel. You join us here today in the lovely Hyde Park, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, another in our series of Royal Parks of London. And this started its life off and belonged to Westminster Abbey about 900 years ago. It was mentioned in the Domesday Book as well. It was purchased by that notorious King Henry VIII as a hunting ground. And here is the story of Hyde Park. Welcome to London. It was around the time of the Domesday Book, about 900 years or so ago, the area became Hyde Park was part of the manor of Eyre. It belonged to the monks who were in Westminster Abbey. There were lots of meadows, there were lots of trees, and there would have been deers, boars and wild bulls roaming about. The Westbourne stream, which now flows underground, crossed the area on its way between Hampstead and the River Thames itself. It was in 1536 that King Henry VIII seized the manor from the monks in the dissolution of the monasteries. He sold some of the land but turned the rest into a vast hunting park that stretched from Westminster to Kensington. A fence was put around his new park and he dammed the Westbourne stream to make a drinking pond for the deers. Here, royal hunts were organised to entertain ambassadors and visiting dignitaries. Visitors could also watch from grandstands when they enjoyed great feasts in temporary banqueting houses as well. The traditions of hunting continued with Queen Elizabeth I. She also reviewed her troops in Hyde Park on the parade ground, a flat area that's now next to Park Lane. The park remained very much unchanged until around about 1625 when Charles I became king. He created a circular track called the Ring where members of the royal family could drive their carriages. The park was opened to the public in 1637 and it became one of the fashionable places to be seen, particularly on holidays such as May Day. It was during the English Civil War that parliamentary troops built forts in the park and they dug defensive earthworks on the east side and they helped defend the city of Westminster from the royalist attacks. These earthworks, there's still evidence of them on the raised bank next to Park Lane today. When Charles II was restored to the monarchy in 1660, Hyde Park became a royal park again, and the new King Charles replaced the wooden fence with a brick wall. And he restocked the park with deer and organised great carriage parades. There were larger changes when William and Mary became King and Queen in 1689. They bought the old Nottingham House on the western edge of the park. It was renamed to Kensington Palace and made up their main residence in London. To get from Kensington to Westminster, a processional route was created through the park. It was lit by 300 oil lamps and was the first road in England to be artificially lit at night. The road was called Route de Roy, or King's Road, but it soon became corrupted into Rotten Row. Many of the features you see in today's Hyde Park were created in the 18th century by Queen Caroline, a very keen gardener. In 1728, she took almost 300 acres from Hyde Park, and that made up Kensington Gardens, which she separated the two parks by a long ditch or a ha-ha. Queen Caroline established a large lake which she called the Serpentine by damming the River Westbourne. At the time, artificial lakes were usually long and very straight. The Serpentine was one of the first created in England that was designed to look as natural as possible, and that was soon copied in parks and gardens all over the country. It was in 1814 the Serpentine became the centrepiece of celebrations of the victory of the Battle of Trafalgar that happened in 1805. Hyde Park remained largely untouched for over 100 years until the 1820s, when it was King George IV who ordered another makeover. He employed Decimus Burton to create a monumental entrance at Hyde Park Corner. It was a triumphal screen that you can still see today, and we now call it the Wellington Arch. And that was later moved from the entrance to Hyde Park to the middle of the roundabout where it stands today. We have another video all about the Wellington Arch elsewhere on the channel. It was around this time that John Rennie also built a bridge across the Serpentine, and Hyde Park was formally split from Kensington Gardens next door by a road we still call West Carriage Drive. One of the biggest events to happen in Hyde Park happened in 1851 when the Great Exhibition was here between May and November of that year. A great palace, a crystal palace, was built in the park itself, 1,850 feet long and 103 feet high, and it also encompassed a lot of the mature trees that were growing in the park at the time. But we'll do another video all about the Crystal Palace elsewhere on the channel. The park has also hosted some of the most iconic concerts in history. The Rolling Stones, Pavarotti, Pink Floyd have all played here. There's even the BBC Proms in the park, and there was also a celebration for the 90th birthday of Nelson Mandela. A darker side of history: on the 20th of July 1982, in Hyde Park, a bomb was detonated by the IRA. The explosion killed 4 soldiers of the Blues and Royals and 7 horses. One of the horses that survived the attack was called Sefton. He was subsequently featured in a television programme, and he was also awarded Horse of the Year at that year's Horse of the Year show. Hyde Park was also at the birth of films. It was William Freeds Green who had a studio not far from here in Piccadilly, who actually used, I think it was Apsley Gate was one of the first moving pictures that was actually shot in the world, and it was here in Hyde Park. Other films have been shot around Hyde Park as well, and I've got my little list here to remind me. One of my favourite films as a child was Genevieve, all about the vintage car race that starts in Hyde Park and ends up in Brighton. Other films that were made in around here, Around the World in 80 Days, there was quite a few scenes shot around here, especially with some of the soldiers marching through the park. And I do believe there was another film called The £1 Million Note that was made about 1954, I think, with Gregory Peck, and they shot some of the scenes in here, especially at the start of the film when he was walking through, and again it was a guardsman marching along. Other films, another one favourite of mine with Michael Caine, 1965 I think it was the Ipcress File, was shot in and around here. Where else? Oh, A Touch of Class with Glenda Jackson. This is where George Segal taught her how to play baseball, and that was a film she won her 2nd Academy Award for. And we've also had, of course, it wouldn't be Hyde Park and around here if it hadn't been filming for Peter Pan and the likes of that. So this is where Johnny Depp and the likes filmed for things like Finding Neverland, and they also filmed next door in Kensington Gardens as well. There you go, I'm going to stop waffling now. Thanks very much for watching. We do hope you enjoy these videos, and if you do, please subscribe. If you want to know when videos are uploaded, there is a notification bell just down below. And if you want to see what we do outside this channel, then please go to historylord.co.uk, see about a walking tour of London, or have a look down below and see about James's YouTube channel, which is called Last Line Films. Thanks for watching. We'll see you very soon. Take care.